In this video, I will be showing you my custom cottage style house in RoCitizens. This house is just the exterior at the moment and I will be showing you how to make it. So let's get started. So here is an exterior view of the house. I removed the back garden because the house is already at 588 furniture items without any interior decoration, so I want the furniture space. This house is difficult to make, so I would suggest if you don't have much building block experience, you try an easier custom house to start with. You can make it easier by just using building blocks for the walls and have a roof with 90-degree angles. If you need house ideas, just looking up images on Google is a great place to start. Now I will go over the stages needed to build this house. So the first thing I did was create a white floor plan of the house with building blocks. I did make this slightly bigger at the back later on. Then I started making the framework using a different colour building block. I made the framework all around the bottom edge and top edge of the house and added door frames. I then made a floor plan by adding low walls and door frames inside of the house. Next, I made window frames while trying to think where in the rooms I would place the furniture so the windows were in a good place. Next, I started working on the walls. I used mirrors but faced backwards to make the plank texture walls. I will explain how you can make this plank texture wall later in the video. I also then added building block walls on the inside so the mirrors were covered. I made these walls all around the house and then I used metal building blocks to make the grey trim at the bottom of the house. Next I placed all the floors in the house. I did a wooden floor for what would be the living room and the kitchen, then carpet in the two bedrooms, and I made a planked wooden floor in the bathroom. This floor texture was made with benches, and I will also show how to make this texture later in the video. Next I used plastic building blocks to create a patio in front of the house. As they are at an angle, you must overlap the building blocks, which I show how to do in another video, which I will link down below. Overlapping building blocks without them intersecting is a very vital skill needed to make a custom house this complex. Next I started on the roof, which is entirely made from building blocks. At first I made each step on the roof very flat, but I realised it would use too much furniture, so I soon changed that so they are big steps, as you can see in the photo. I shaped the roof using an image online for reference. You need to overlap building blocks to make the front part of the roof, which I will show you how to do later in the video. To fill the front left part of the house with the plank walls, you have to do some jigsaw work, as shown in the next image, as you have to fit in lots of mirrors to make sure the whole wall is covered with planks, without showing any of the roof. After I'd fit all the mirrors, I covered them on the inside with building blocks, but you don't need to cover a building block wall right to the top, as the ceiling will hide most of the wall. Finally, I added an inner frame in the windows. I made the doors inside and outside. These doors are made from wooden building blocks and use a bell as a handle. They open halfway so you can walk through them. I also added a railing to the patio. These are made with plastic building blocks. I made some steps to the door and a front driveway made with marble building blocks. I had a hedge using a black carpet building block but coloured green. So all these additions are made with building blocks. Now I will go over how you can make some of the more complicated parts of this house. So to make the planked floor texture, you need to buy these entry benches, and you just place them on the ground, and you can scale them as wide as they go to make them take up more space. If you scale them this way longer, they do this weird thing where they separate at the end, so I don't do that, so I just leave them as they come like this. Then you just place lots next to each other. You can put small objects like books on top of them, but you can't place things like counters on top of them. So to do this, what you have to do is place a building block next to the bench, scale it up to the height of the bench, and then place the counter there. And then you can put a bench under the counter so it looks like it was just placed on that floor. Next, to make the planked wall texture, you need this tall mirror in the shop, and then you get a building block, any building block, and you scale it bigger at a wall where you want your wall to be, but it should be backwards, and I'll show you what I mean now. So you then place the mirror on here. You can scale it as big as you want. The house, I scaled them as big as they would go most of the time. Then you remove this building block, and here the wall is. And then you place a plastic building block behind to make the inside plastic wall. When I made the window frames in the house, at first they looked like they were floating before I added the walls. This is actually very simple to do. all you need to do is place a building block below where you want your window frame, scale it up as high as you want, then make the window frame. Once you've done that, you can remove the block and there's a floating window frame. A lot in the build involves overlapping building blocks without them intersecting. As you can see, if I place 2 building blocks on the floor, if I scaled this one here, it's going to intersect and it won't let me place it into that block. You can get around this by placing them at different angles. For example, I can place this block here, place another random block on the side of this block, remove this one, and suddenly this one can scale into this block, no problem, intersecting, it's fine. You can do this from above or any sides. It just has to be placed on a different side that this block was. I have a video which I will link in the description which just goes into this in more detail. The other way of making blocks intersect is what I used on this roof, and it's placing the base of the blocks at different heights. So here, I have these blocks placed on top here and they don't intersect with these blocks, even though they're overlapping here. But here, if I took this block and tried to place it here, it's clearly going red and intersecting. This is because if I scale this, you can see that this block, the base of it, is starting below the base of this block. And you do this by placing the building block below it. And now I can place it here, and because it's on a different level to this block, it won't intersect. The doors are made with just wooden building block, and you place the bell by scaling the door down where you want the bell, and then you can just place the bell on the door just like this, and when you scale the door up, it doesn't intersect. I think that is all the skills you would need to make this custom house. You can try and replicate this house or make your own completely unique custom house just using the tips from this video. So that's the house build. The house is empty at the moment, so it is basically like buying a pre-built blueprint from the game. I will be decorating the interior, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss that video. I hope you enjoyed my latest build and you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.